A photo of Tom Hanks came out this week, and he's playing Mr. Rogers. I didn't know Resurrection could work that fast. Good evening, cult members. Welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
Look, I did it right this time.
Yay!
We've only done like 20,000 episodes in the last week and a half. This is episode 80 of The Big Show here at the Pop Culture Cult.
Yep.
Our 1 year anniversary is coming up at the end of the month. Or our 2 year anniversary.
I was going to say, it's, yeah.
Our yearly anniversary is coming up at the end of the month. I'm just letting you all know it's going to be one of those shows. I'm just...
Well, we do have an anniversary in a few days.
We do have an anniversary in 9 days. And in 14 days, we're leaving on a jet plane for a 40-hour tour.
Yes.
This is our main show. Mostly we talk about movies in this show. Sometimes we talk about cons and books and stuff like that. But this week, it's all movies.
All movies all the time.
All movies all the time. Sometimes we talk some business stuff in there, too. We talked about Bob Iger and stuff. We actually do have a little bit of business stuff that we're going to talk about this week, but we'll get into that. Since you're here and you've already clicked on the video, we have two things that we ask of everyone that clicks on our videos. One, really simple, really easy one. Subscribe to the channel. It's not that hard. If you click over the little subscribe button and hit click, it turns from red to gray. It's like magic. I know, it's cool. And hit the bell so you get notifications, and it costs you nothing. Nothing. It's free. So why not? And you get notifications when we're uploading new movie reviews and trailer reactions and TV time and all the different things that we do.
All the things.
All the things. And if you happen to have a really good friend who is somebody who is into movies but won't shut up about whatever else in the world, and you're like, you know what, you need to be quiet for 5 minutes and listen to these two guys talk. Share with your friends. Show them this channel. Let them know what we're doing around here, because more friends means more subscribers means more views means more content, and we're just making it easier for you to watch us.
Right.
No?
Sure.
All right, we'll go with it. So let's get into this week's stuff. We're going to start off with what has been the strangest marketing plan ever with X-Men's The Dark Phoenix. Now, first we're going to talk about... So they did everything in Apocalypse with the younger cast, with the younger Jean and Scott and all them and stuff like that.
Right.
And a lot of people were really excited about seeing Sophia Turner play Jean Grey, and they're going to do Dark Phoenix. They kind of hinted at it at the end of Apocalypse. And so they went ahead and they got a script, and they got the other cast, not the old cast, but the medium cast with McAvoy and Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence and all them, Nicholas Hoult and all them. And they started filming. And they did a bunch of filming, got everything done, whatever, and they went into the editing room, and they realized that they needed to reshoot some stuff.
Yeah,
Which happens. Everything it happens all the time, except when they got ready to go do that, Sophia Turner, who's the lead of the movie, couldn't be there because she's filming the end of Game of Thrones.
Right.
So that's fine. So they had to wait. I think it ended up being 3 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To do that. So they had to push back the release date. And so that was actually supposed to come out this year. Actually, I think it was supposed to come out like this October, November.
Yeah, I was going to say like November.
And they pushed it back to February.
Right.
And so we haven't really heard anything other than the reshoots, and there was some, there's some upheaval with the whole Sony X-Men universe because they're being bought out by Disney. And so what happens when they add them to Marvel and all that kind of stuff. And there's also the New Mutants movie that they're reshooting the whole movie apparently, and I don't know what's going on there. And all that was going on at the same time. So Tuesday, they release the X-Men Dark Phoenix trailer.
Right. Which is
And
the first one. We haven't seen anything.
I hadn't seen
right?
anything. We've seen some stills and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I didn't do a trailer reaction because, to be honest, I wasn't feeling up to it that day, and I should have. My bad. My bad. And then it got 8 million views here in the States, which is pretty good in a 24-hour period for
Yeah.
a trailer release.
Yeah, I would think so. I'll take 8 million views.
Yeah, please, yes, please. If an eighth of 8 million people subscribe to our channel, but the very next day, they announced they moved the slot for the release of the movie to June 7th.
Right. And nobody knows why.
Well, according to the Deadline article that I was reading, there was 8 million views of the Dark Phoenix trailer from here in the States on YouTube in a 24-hour period.
Okay.
There was 44 million views from China.
Are those real views or are those bots?
They doesn't matter. But that is going to coincide with the Chinese New Year, which is like our New Year is kind of a big deal. It's the kind of a big party, so that coincides.
Right.
So June 7th is going to be a holiday in China, and so they moved the dates to that weekend.
Okay. Except there's a ton of stuff coming out end of May, June.
You have Infinity War 2, Avengers 4.
The Great Snapopolis.
The Avengers Assembled in game, whatever the hell they're going to call it, is the 1st of May, so it'll still be in the theaters.
Yep.
Godzilla King of Monsters comes out the weekend after Dark Phoenix now.
Right.
And then there was something else. Lego Movie comes out the weekend before.
How to Train Your... No, that was April or February 14th.
Yeah. And so no real reason. Now, I heard a rumor today that it was because of the Chinese thing, but it's also because they're still working on the special effects and they want to make sure the effects and everything are correct instead of pushing it through like some movies have done in the past.
Yeah, it seems like they've had plenty of time.
Yes.
And they'd still have 4 months. I mean, 5, but you're not going to... Well, no, 4 months.
Right.
I don't know. I don't understand.
Now, my first question when I actually started thinking about this was the rumor is right now there hasn't been another substantiated rumor in quite some time, but the rumor is that the Sony sell to Disney is supposed to be completed and confirmed by the spring. Quotey fingers.
Okay.
So, if they do spring, are they already talking to Disney and Marvel about how to loop this into the MCU with some kind of post-credit scene?
I don't
or
know.
they throw somebody in there like Scarlet Witch, or there's a portal into the... That's the only thing I can think of, other than this is a marketing decision that has nothing to do with the United States.
I hope not. I would really like them to just kind of wrap up this iteration of X-Men and do something a little later.
They the trailer starts with "This is the end" by the Doors.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of maybe ominous foretelling.
I mean, I really like. I know people didn't like the last one. Was that Apocalypse?
Apocalypse, yeah.
But I've really enjoyed the James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence. I've enjoyed them. But yeah, I mean, there's been a few movies, and they could certainly wrap it up and move on.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just weird.
The whole thing has been odd, and we have heard nothing about anything that they're doing with New Mutants.
And the timing, too. It's like, why did you release
a trailer and then the next day move the date?
Yeah. Although...
Which is why I think that maybe there's something going on.
The hits have something to do with it.
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. The whole thing has been really weird. I really like the trailer, but I'm not like blown away by it.
No.
Now we're going to talk about a couple trailers here in a little bit that blew us away.
But it was also kind of a teaser trailer, right? It's not.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a whole lot of content there, just some.
And I really like Sophia Turner, and people are like, I'd like to see her. You know, she hasn't really done anything that's impressed me outside of Game of Thrones. Well, she really hasn't done anything outside of Game of Thrones.
She's
It's the first try.
Child.
Right.
She was like 12 when Game of Thrones started.
Right. And she's been probably one of the people. Her and Maisie Williams both have been the people who've, as actors, have grown the most out of that show.
Yeah. Peter Dinklage too. I think, although he may just be more on people's radar, so he's getting more roles.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what happens. We are going to talk about some business stuff. I lied saying it was all movies. It's somewhat movies. It came out that they signed Kathleen Kennedy to a 3-year deal at Lucasfilm to be the head poobah some more.
Right.
She was the hand-picked successor to George Lucas after George sold to Disney, and he said that, you know, I'm totally okay with the sell, but I want to pick my successor. And him and Kathleen Kennedy had done stuff together. She had produced with him with some stuff before, and so they hired her, and she is the head of everything of all of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to the palaver on the internet, people are upset with Kathleen Kennedy because of the failures of Solo. I'm wearing my Kessel Run shirt tonight out of solidarity. We'll talk about Solo in a minute. The failure of Solo and the divisiveness of Last Jedi.
Right.
Now, the last I checked, Last Jedi made $1.6 or $1.7 billion. And the 4 movies that she has been under the watch of has made $4.5 billion.
Right.
So they haven't quite made the money back from the Disney buying of Star Wars and the production of the movies, but it's pretty damn close. They're pretty much breaking even at this point.
And there's still merchandise and all the Disney XD stuff and
rent of the books and blah, 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 blah.
I think they're doing okay.
They're doing fine. They're about ready to open Disneyland, Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge. I don't remember. They're calling it something. But people are saying that this is a bad move by Lucasfilm because people are upset with Kennedy and the decisions she's made and creative decisions. Christian Harloff's been very adamant about her. She as a producer is really good, but her as the creative lead maybe isn't the best in the world. And I can't disagree with his comments. However, I think she's been doing a really good job. Her job is to make the company money. She's been making the company money.
Yes and no. I mean, you know, it's hard not to compare anybody to Kevin Feige right now.
Right.
And, you know, it's been pointed out that she is not a Star Wars super fan, and it
Which
shows.
may or may not be a good thing. I go back and forth if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think, well, Kevin Feige is a Marvel super fan, and that helps. I know that there's a person who is the great holder of the tome of all
the
things
holocron.
Star Wars.
And then there's the creative group.
And so maybe there needs to be somebody like that who kind of makes sure that stuff follows a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, she did step in to Solo and got rid of Lord Miller because it wasn't going in the direction that they wanted it to, and that may be, I don't know. I mean, Kevin Feige gives Marvel directors, they say, okay, we need to get from here to here, go make that happen.
Right.
And there's been some misses with the Marvel stuff, right? And
especially early on. Iron Man 2 wasn't very well received. Both the
people don't like
the first 2 Thor movies.
Yeah, people don't like Age of Ultron. That was a newer movie, but
they're wrong, by the way.
I think there's a little of that lacking. Like, there's no solid direction forward.
Especially with the saga. A lot of people are complaining that Rian Johnson did his own movie, his own standalone movie within the saga series.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that's we haven't gotten the whole sequel trilogy.
We're not going to. We're not going to. We are not going to get something that's going to wrap up what Rian Johnson was envisioning, because it started with JJ, it's ending with JJ.
Right.
We're going to get the Last Jedi, the movie after Force Awakens. Force Awakens?
Force Awakens was first.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's all that. Seven. That's just as difficult. We're going to get the movie that should have been after that one instead of. I don't necessarily hate Last Jedi, but I don't think it works where it was. Maybe he should have done like the Han Solo movie or something. I don't know.
I ultimately I wanted JJ to do all three.
Yeah.
And I at the time that they asked him to do one, he didn't want to do it. We're going way off of what we're going to talk about here, but I don't care. We're going to it's Star Wars. But they talked him into doing it. He did it, and he's like, "Cool, I'm done." They brought Rian Johnson in, and then they're going to have Colin Trevorrow do the third one, and that didn't work out. So they called JJ back, and so they should have really had JJ do all three. And then they had Rian Johnson start this new Star Wars saga outside of Skywalker's moving forward.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated what Kathleen Kennedy has been able to say and do as the head poobah of Lucasfilm. She's been the one who's come in and said, Lord and Miller, we've looked at stuff. We need to change it. They said, no, we don't. This is what the movie want to do. They talked about it. They had a amicable disagreement, and Lord and Miller were fired. And Kathleen Kennedy brought in old trusty Steed, Ron Howard in. They did the same thing with Rogue One. They had issues with Rogue One. Yeah. Gareth Edwards was like, whoever you want to bring in to help, whatever. I've really appreciated the producer part of the stories, and how she's been able to handle everything, and how she's included Lucas in celebrations and having him come to set and stuff like that. I understand the creative part of it, that maybe she's not the best creative person, but this contract is through 2021. Well, the last episode 9 gets done. It comes out at Christmas of 2020. And,
right.
Or 2019.
2019, next year.
2019. So this is kind of and if we take what Bob Iger said in the interview that we spent a lot of time talking about with last week, that they're just now starting to have the discussion of what they're going to do after the sagas.
Right.
And they've paused all the standalone stories.
Right.
And in the conversations of listening to everybody today and talking about this subject, the thing that I came up with that makes sense to me is we have episode 9 coming out in 2019. In the spring, so May of 21, you have a standalone movie.
2020.
No, 21.
So you're going to go...
You go a year and a half.
A year and a half? Okay.
A year and a half to 21. So May of 21, you have a standalone movie. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, whatever you end up doing. A year and a half from then would be Christmas of 2023. So, and you do the start of the new saga movies. Outside whatever the Benny Austin Weiss or the Rian Johnson, whatever.
Right.
But you do a movie every year and a half. So now you have a May date, and then you have a December date, and you have every other December. The open December, Disney could come in and shove their, Mary Poppins 2, The Curse of Mary's Umbrella.
Well, I mean, they could also do saga stuff every December and throw in standalones in May.
That's ultimately what I want them to do, but I don't think at this point in time they will do that. They won't do that until 2025.
You're talking 2023. That's 5 years from now.
Right.
They could definitely do it then, but I just think that it ultimately doesn't matter. It's 3 years. not much that isn't already in the books
Right.
is
Right,
going to
that's kinda what I
happen
was
between
going
now
to,
and
yeah.
then. But I just feel like she is a producer, director, first and foremost. She directed like
She
all
did
those
some
movies.
directing, but most of it's producing stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
They needed, I think it's a moot point at this point, but they needed someone else who was steeped in the lore to kind of uh, be more of the face and the direction of the, if they're not going to have a Kevin Feige that's doing both, they need one of each, and I feel like they kind of missed that boat.
I feel they should have had Dave Filoni do that. Dave Filoni was Lucas's Padawan. You have Kennedy as the chosen one to be the shepherder of the business side of it. You have Filoni as the Padawan becoming the master, and you get that. As soon as you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you understand that he was steeped in the lore with Lucas.
Yeah.
So you have a two-headed figure, one the business side, one the story side, and you move forward with that group. We've been talking about having this with DC. DC film worlds of DC, the DCEU, the DCFU, whatever they're calling it. We've been asking for a figurehead, a single person who is the face of it. Kathleen Kennedy has done this, and when there's been mistakes made, she's been the one out in front saying, hey, there was some mistakes made, and we tried to fix it. Now, I'm not going to say that Solo was a failure or Last Jedi were a failure when you double or triple what the money you put into it. It could have been better. I love Solo, and it was never going to be a saga movie, but people coming out and saying that she's the reason that Star Wars is failing. The reason that Star Wars is failing is because fanboys don't know how to separate themselves from their passion of what they perceive what the original trilogy is.
Yeah.
If you really look at the original trilogy subjectively, without your emotion involved, they're okay movies at best.
Yeah.
New Hope is amazing for what happened in 77. But if you put New Hope, if you put brand new eyes, you get somebody who's never seen a Star Wars movie or seen a Marvel movie, whatever. You put New Hope against Infinity War, there's no contest. I'm so emotional about this. So I think people need to take a step back. I know I'm asking the internet a lot here.
Yeah.
Take a step back, enjoy what you're watching, be critical of it, but don't flame people for making decisions that they thought were right. She thought hiring Rian Johnson and Lord Miller was right. And she fixed the one of mistakes.
Yeah.
She with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going. I'm going with. I could have spent an hour on this because the Star Wars stuff just makes me angry, but I also love it, and so it makes me angry when people are like, she should have been fired. And they should have hired Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige isn't going to leave Marvel to go to Star Wars.
No.
It's not going to happen.
No. And Star Wars is, it's a death trap. I mean, you could say that about Marvel, but Marvel started, 20 years, 15 years ago, whatever.
10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Has it only been 10? Okay.
That's why they show Marvel Studios, and then the IO at the end turns into 10, because this is the 10th anniversary.
Sure. Yeah.
Pay attention.
I don't give a shit what the thing on the Marvel thing. But Star Wars has been around for a long time, and so people are a little, when I was 10, I went and saw A New Hope,
right.
So people are a little more possessive of it because it's been around longer.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to move on from that. But that's, Kathleen Kennedy, congratulations on getting another $1 million to go. Have people yell at you on the internet.
Yay.
We went on Wednesday. We went Wednesday and saw Eli Roth's new movie, The House with the Clock in Its Walls. This Eli Roth is a known gore horror director, and he directed a kids horror movie.
Yes. Yep.
And it was a lot of fun.
It was.
We're going to do a little bit of a review here. Jack Black and Kate Blanchett are the two kind of main people in it.
Yeah.
And then Jack Black's nephew in the movie. His name is Lewis, but he was played by Owen Vaccaro, and he was awesome.
He was awesome. He was amazing. I mean, he's probably what, like 10, 12?
Yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
And yeah, there was some emotion coming out
He
of
was
that
emotion. He like dealing with the death of his parents.
Yeah,
and
I was going to
stuff,
say,
and,
it was,
yeah.
you were like,
I'm not going to worry about spoiling a kid's horror film based off a book from the 70s.
Well, if you watched the previews,
you
watched the trailers, they talked about that. I mean, he came to live with his uncle because his parents died, and that was sad. But yeah, it was fun.
It's I said in our Stardust review, it's my kind of horror film. There's a little bit of a scare. There's a couple moments, but not like super bad.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to take maybe a 5 or 7-year-old, but a 10, 12, 13. Yeah. It was, adult enough humor that they would have not been bored, and it was, but it's still kind of kiddie.
This is the second movie now that I've seen Jack Black in. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, and The House with the Clock on Its Walls, where I'm like, you know what, he's a really good actor. Like, I'm really like, he was able to do the silly kind of goofy stuff because he's a warlock and he's kind of a silly guy and whatever. Yeah, but there's some serious points where he can pull some stuff off. What he did in Jumanji was just like next level.
He's come a long way from Pick a Destiny.
Yeah, right. And even that stuff was, it was just them making fun of rock hair metal and stuff like that. But I think Cate Blanchett is always a win. It's just perfect. I was super happy with this.
It was a good fun movie.
This was one of those movies that if we didn't have the A-list with AMC, we probably wouldn't have seen. It probably had been gone through the cracks, and I'm really happy we went and saw it. I was pretty happy with it. You want to score it?
2.75.
3. 3. And this is really funny because we've had a couple movies where we're like, it wasn't very good, it wasn't very okay. We weren't really happy with it. We give it a 3.5. And here's something that we had a lot of fun with. It was really fun and whatever.
I have never given something I didn't like a 3.5.
Well,
ever.
Well, okay, that's
ever.
Okay, I give it a 3. And
I think if I was like, "Are we done yet?" that would have been a 2. But
that was Geostorm and The Circle.
Yes.
Definitely take your kids. Like we said, probably not younger kids, but early preteen, you'll be all right, and definitely a lot of fun. We did TV Time, our new show, just dealing with TV stuff on Sunday. We uploaded it to the channel. I will add it to the little bar up here. I figured out how to do all that stuff up there, and we talked about stuff.
Doctor Who
preview was our big thing.
Murphy Brown.
So if you're interested in TV stuff, we cover as much as we can, and we talked about some stuff that's coming up on Netflix. So
there's a lot of TV out there, and we try to keep it in 20 minutes. So we are definitely not touching on everything.
We're skipping a lot of stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now, we are going to be talking about Project Blue Book next week. We had several trailers. We talked about Dark Phoenix that came out last week. We had 2 trailers that we did trailer reactions. I'm going to start talking with my hands a lot as we're getting here. I did do trailer reactions. I'm going to add them to the end of the video here of this episode. We had Creed 2, which came out. Probably the best trailer we saw all last week. It was pretty impressive with Drago and everything.
Well, yeah, I think the other one was my favorite, but that's fine.
It's the other one is my favorite, but that Creed trailer had freaking goosebumps and it's I'll tag it at the end, but that came out. It was still I'm super excited about this movie. It's coming out at Christmas. I talked about in the review, the trailer reaction, that the first Creed was not on our radar until then we saw it on Redbox or something.
I think we Redboxed it, and then we were like, oh my god, that was amazing.
Yeah, what we were thinking, and so this one we're really excited for. I'm saying $80 million open.
Ooh,
I know, big time. It's a huge opening for Christmas for a boxing sequel movie, so
Yeah.
I'm high. The second one, though, was Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. We're super excited about this one.
Yep.
It's the first weekend in November, and so we might be buying tickets while we're on a train somewhere in a foreign country.
Yeah.
We need to look and see how that is. But we're super excited. We did a trailer reaction to it. Again, I'll add it to the end here. So please click on both of those. Just real quick.
So after we did the trailer reaction,
Nicholas Flamel.
never can remember his freaking name. It's like he's our unicorn.
Mythical creature.
Yeah.
Unicorn.
Yeah.
Impossible to capture.
Yeah. Eleanor. GT 500. So
I told you it was going to be one of those shows.
Spoilers if you haven't seen the trailer or heard anything on the internet, Nagini's in it. And somebody, it might have been Roth on Screen Junkies, said that Nagini is actually, and I guess they showed her, she's a woman who would change back and forth and then basically got stuck.
Yeah, so what I was reading, she's read all the Harry Potter books. I've read most of the Harry Potter books, but we haven't got into the
I haven't gotten the Fantastic Beasts or
or the Crimes of Grindelwald or whatever. Cursed Child. She is it's a bloodline thing.
Oh, okay.
And so she's like a shapeshifter or whatever. And
a phenomorph, something more.
Yeah. And she could do it so many times. She does it one time and then she gets cursed while she's in it, and then she's like stuck in that permanent thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he who will not be named takes her, steals her, protects her when he's Tom Riddle, and so that's how they end up being together. And then all the other stuff that happens and stuff. I watched a thing from Warner Brothers Instagram page, and they had the entire cast sitting and kind of just doing a round table kind of discussion, whatever thing.
That's cool.
And the lady who is playing Nagini was sitting there, and Eddie Redmayne turns and says, "What's your character name?" And she's like, "I can't say." And then one of the producers off the screen says, "Go ahead." And she's like, "What? And so this dropped like the day after the trailer, and they the producer's like, "Yeah, go ahead. It's all good. We're gonna release this when the trailer comes out." And so she's like, "I play Nagini," and all of them are like, "Ah!" So it was like. It was really cool, moment of her saying it out loud finally of who she's playing, and haven't been able to really say that the whole time because
can't tell anybody.
So they've done Nagini and Nicholas Flamel in the last two trailers, and those are big, huge Easter eggs.
Yeah.
What are they going to drop in the movie?
The mirror. I want to say the room of requirement, and that's not it.
No, the mirror was in this last one.
Yeah. It was in the one before too.
Was it in the one before? I don't quite remember that, but yeah. So that was, there's all kinds of stuff dropping. So that comes out in about a little less than right about a month. It's the first weekend, and so we're super excited about it. That one might be a multiple tripper for us.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in November, December coming out. So we're going to talk about Solo's Blu-ray that came out now 3 weeks ago now. The digital release of Solo came out. So most everybody has talked about the extra features and everything like that. But being a physical media household and not a digital media household, we like Netflix and all that kind of stuff, but I actually like having the DVDs in my hand.
Because they can take those digital downloads away from you.
And when the zombie apocalypse happens, and I can just go get a generator, still watch my stuff, even though we don't have internet.
Right.
Or when the aliens show up. Because we've been watching Doctor Who, and aliens always show up. But there's a bunch of cool extra features that we watched. The John on Lawrence. Conversation between John Kasdan and Lawrence Kasdan, the father and son writer thing. That was really kind of cool.
Yep.
A bunch of really cool extras about how they worked between the practical and the digital, and
tried to do as much practical as possible.
The speeder was actually a built speeder with a V8. They drove it around and stuff like that.
And we watched them, and then watched the movie again, and the explosion. Because they explain how they do when the mountain disappears.
Yeah, that was cool.
And so I was really watching that the second time, going, "Oh yeah, I see that now."
Actually, when we watched it, so I got it Friday, because tacos and beers and Solo had to happen on Friday. And when that scene happens, when they blow up the fuel in the mountain, I leaned over. I was like, "Did they blow up a real mountain?"
Yeah,
because that looks real. And then they show it in the extras. Really cool.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite is the roundtable discussion that they had with the entire cast. Everyone was there, and Ron Howard was the moderator, leader, or whatever. Yeah. And them all. It was like maybe half an hour of them just sitting around talking about how they found out they got into a Star Wars movie, and it's like stories from the set and different things.
They couldn't talk about it, and they all pretty much said they told a significant other or parent immediately.
Yeah, I have to tell somebody. My favorite was oh my God, Lando.
Daniel Glover.
Donald Glover.
Glover.
Jesus Christ. Hi. We run an internet show talking about movies. We can't remember anybody's name. Donald Glover saying, I was at the supermarket. I got a call from my agent saying you got it. And then, so I did is I went and got a pizza. I went home and watched Empire Strikes Back. it was like there's actually a yearbook photo of Donald Glover, and he's got a Star Wars shirt on. So he's a fan. Like but it was, that conversation was so refreshing to see them all sit around and talk about the movie and them being on set and how they're all friendly and you know and stuff like that. But then also some of the younger cast talking about how the importance of Star Wars were. Woody Harrelson was like, it was a job and it was cool. I was in Star Wars, but Paul Bettany's in the Marvel universe is like over there going, this is I'm in Star Wars and I'm doing Lando all of a sudden for Paul Bettany. That's racist. But I love to have seen that for like 3 hours, like a 3 hour of them just sitting around shooting the shit with beers. And
I loved Woody dropping a Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah, I was hanging out with my friend
Matthew
in London. And I got the call. It's like, so funny. We're going to move on because like I said, we can talk Star Wars all the time. I'm trying to work on talking Star Wars all the time. And
you are.
Josh, get on it. So today we got the first teaser trailer for Rocket Man. Now, Rocket Man is a musical fantasy biopic of Elton John. And Taron Egerton, I'll get his name right at some point in time, from Kingsman, and he's getting the new Robin Hood movie, is playing Elton John. And there was a photo that came out late last week of him on the plane in the full, and he looks like Elton John.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? And so we see this trailer, and it's a fantasy musical biopic.
Yeah.
That's how it was described, and there's no other way to describe it. Sure. I mean, if you're really going to do Elton John, and Elton's still, alive and out and doing stuff and whatever.
And he's got kids, right? So he doesn't want, he's got young kids, like twins or something that they adopted.
They adopted,
so he doesn't want his life story out there.
He's been pretty open with a lot of the stuff that's happened in his life.
He was a rock star in the 70s.
He was a rock star in the 70s. Oh, flamboyant. It's a dramatization retelling the life and his career from his time at the Royal Academy of Music through his rise of fame, struggle over drug addiction, and then his partnership with Bernie Taupin. topping. But if you watch the trailer, it's Elton is wearing all of the crazy clothes. Mm-hmm. He's on stage playing, and the crowd starts floating, and then he starts floating, and he's playing the piano. So if they're going to do this kind of fantasy biopic, so you take the story of Elton John, you fantasize it a little bit, kind of make it a little bit more accessible. Maybe is not the right word, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a fine line there, right? If they start going a little too, what did I say, Sergeant Pepper's?
Sergeant Pepper's, yeah.
People are going to start checking out. But I mean, I thought he sounded, he's actually, Taron Egerton's actually singing. He sounds very close. I know there's a big debate as to whether you lip sync or have them sing, and I think there's a case for either way. I thought he didn't sound bad, but I also liked Bohemian Rhapsody, where he doesn't sing Freddie.
Rami Malek.
Yeah, and sometimes that has to do with the fact that the person playing them just can't sing.
Yeah.
But if you can do the Johnny Cash when Joaquin Phoenix did the Walk the Line, I thought he sounded close enough.
I got that out of this trailer. I thought Taron sounded close enough to Elton. I'd listen. I'm like, if you really pay attention, like if you really sit down and listen, you could tell it's Taron and not Elton.
Oh yeah, his pitch is a little different, but if you want real Elton John, go watch Tommy, or
right,
or go listen to Elton John on iTunes or whatever.
We watched Screen Junkies this afternoon instead of working out because it's been rainy here for a day and it's changed and we don't feel like doing anything. So we watched Screen Junkies, and they had a very long discussion of the GRCU, the Glam Rock Cinematic Universe. With this and the Bohemian Rhapsody, and what else would you like to see within the glam rock cinematic universe? We're totally going to run with this.
Yes, so GRCU.
And so they talked about Bowie, who I think should be Michael Sheehan. Now he's not quite tall enough to play.
They can
but
do that camera angles or whatever.
But he played Bowie in Tron. It was Bowie. But they also talked about
Prince,
young Prince, and stuff like that.
Was it Donna Summer? No.
Donnie and Marie.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, Aretha Franklin. Yeah. They were talking about who would be the villain in the GRCU, and they were talking about Pat Robinson, the evangelical. No,
it was Pat Boone.
Pat Boone, you're right.
Because he remade a bunch of those like Metallica songs and stuff, and then just sang them in the kind of piano,
trying to make them like more family friendly and stuff. Or Donnie Marie being whatever. So that whole tangent was a lot of fun. But we're getting Bohemian Rhapsody with Queen and Freddie Mercury. We're getting the Elton John one. We talked about David Bowie. Is there another one out there that you would like to see? They tried Jimi Hendrix with Andre 3000, but they didn't have any of the music. So Andre 3000 was really good in the movie, but they didn't have any of the music. So they might as well have not even done the movie. So,
there's the glam rock thing is very specific, right? So you could, there's Kiss, there's Iggy Pop, but they already did that one, right? We were talking about that movie that we watched. I don't know.
The only music-wise they haven't really touched on right now, which I think would make a really good movie, is everything that went around them making Rumors, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, that's not glam rock.
Okay,
but that would be
whenever this kind of conversation of music and music biopics, and that's the one that I always look at. All of the stuff that happened around that time period and stuff like that. I don't think that'll ever happen while they're all still alive.
Maybe, well, probably not. Was it Almost Famous? It's almost. Is that the Almost Famous, where the kid goes on the road trip.
Oh yeah. He was the reporter for Rolling Stone or whatever. Yeah,
It's kind of like, I feel like that was maybe loosely based on kind of what happened with McPhee's and Fleetwood and Stevie
what was
Nicks.
the one? What was the movie with?
It was very Peyton Place, if you don't know the story about them. Basically, all the songs on Rumors are them just jabbing at each other because the McVies were fighting. They're married, Christy, and I don't remember what his name is, and then Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks, and they were all just pissed off at each other.
Yeah. The Mark Wahlberg movie where he was a karaoke singer or whatever, and he ends up auditioning and he becomes the lead of the band, and then it was kind
he's
of
playing Rob Halford.
It was essentially the Judas Priest thing.
Yeah,
that one I thought, I cannot remember the name of it. That one was also a good subject matter to talk about. I thought they did it really well too. I thought Mark Wahlberg was. And actually
they did
pretty
the
good.
one about Journey, where the Asian guy could sing like Steve Perry, exactly. Yeah. That was a documentary.
That was really good too. Yeah. So there's but it's always interesting to kind of have this conversation whenever we're this kind of since there kind of seems to be a trend of these right now, and we all know that Hollywood will never take a risk. They will only do what everybody else is doing until somebody takes a risk, and then everybody gloms onto it.
Yeah, so if Bohemian Rhapsody does well, this is going to be a thing for a while.
Yeah, so two more things we want to talk about this week. One of them is...
I don't even know what's going... I don't even understand.
We're getting a Deadpool movie at Christmas.
Maybe?
So... So Ryan Reynolds drops this photo of Deadpool reading bedtime stories to Fred Savage on the set of Princess Bride.
Basically reenacting the Peter Falk, Fred Savage scene.
And I don't understand. And he says, and the caption on the video was, speculate away or whatever it ended up being. And then Sony pops its head out, and Fox pops its head out and says, we're releasing an untitled Deadpool movie on December 21st. Ta-da. And no description, no nothing. They put it on that date with everything else is going out right there at Christmas, and then they drop this photo, and then no description of anything.
Right.
And so Jeff Snyder from Collider did some digging, and the rumor is that he's reporting is that they're going to release the Deadpool movie, Deadpool 1 and or 2, as a PG-13 edited version.
Okay. I don't.
But I find that odd to do that in the theater. So or they're going to do some super duper uber cut. I don't understand what's going on.
Is there a clamoring for this? I don't.
Again, this is back to the conversation. The sell is supposed to be done in the spring of 2019.
Right.
Is this their way of making sure that Deadpool gets inside the MCU and they could do a Deadpool neutered Deadpool? And I don't understand.
I don't know.
I'm excited for it because I love when they drop stuff like this and tell us no information. And then we get to speculate on what it is, and then we get to go to the movie and be surprised by how awesome the House with the Clock on the Walls is.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
I don't know.
Or we'll get there, and it's the X-Force movie.
I don't...
That would be so next level and, awe-inspiring if they did that.
They don't have time. They don't...
Unless they filmed it all already. Unless they filmed it all when they were filming Deadpool.
I don't know. That
would be... I'm going with the X-Force movie, and they haven't told anybody yet. That's what I'm going with.
Okay. I don't know. I got nothing.
I also don't want a trailer for Infinity War. So, Infinity War 2. Avengers Assemble. The last story that we're going to deal with tonight is they are doing a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express. It made $352 million worldwide. It cost them like $85 to make it. Guess what? They're going to make a sequel. And
I'm happy about it. I liked Murder on the Orient Express.
I did too. And Agatha Christie's got like a series of books that all kind of did the murder mystery thing. And the next book in the series is Murder on the Nile.
Death on the Nile.
Death on the Nile. And Gal Gadot has been signed to be the main star going forward on the Death on the Nile. And Kenneth Branagh is coming back and directing, so he'll play Hercule Poirot. My mouth is starting to stop working, guys. Started to stop working? Yeah. And it's coming out December 20th of 2019, which is next year, and they just now announced this, and so that means they're ready to go, and they'll start filming in the spring.
Yeah. Well, it's perfect, because if you think about Gal Gadot's character in Wonder Woman, when she gets on the pants and she's got the little pith helmet and she goes, that's very much and I'm trying to remember the female character's name in Death on the Nile, but that's very much what she is. Look like.
Yeah.
The
first
to Africa.
Like if we come across it as Zia for like $5, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Because I really like Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, why are we doing this again? Well, you're doing it again because you have this amazing cast and you nail it.
And there's a ton of people out there that don't know this material. It's the same reason that Kenneth Branagh did all the Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of people out there or thousands of people out there that have never seen Hamlet or Much Ado or, any, I mean, we're not going to talk about the Romeo and Juliet. So it gets them some exposure and they're like, oh, I like, I can't think. I like Johnny Depp. Who else was in that movie?
And Much Ado?
No.
Oh, no. And Daisy Ripley, Dane Judi-Dench, Oscar Isaac, Josh Gad, and the best mustache on the entire planet.
Yes.
So and he's worked his way through all the Shakespeare stuff. So now he's got to go do
all the stuff that makes sense.
Christie, yeah.
So
I'm super excited, and this is an example of what Wonder Woman did for Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
and now she's getting to expand outside of their that superhero thing or whatever.
Yep.
So that's this week's episode. Do you guys think that Kathleen Kennedy signing for another 3 years is a good idea? Did you like all the trailers or whatever that came out over the last week? Let us know. Leave us a comment. Like I said earlier, please subscribe to the channel. You've listened this long, and hit the bell for notifications. Like the video, share with all of your friends, and we can get a hold of us. And you can too, on the social media network. Pop Culture Cult on Facebook, PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, at @pop_cult1 on Twitter. I got through it. It's all in the description. And until next time, good night now.